Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. I had a problem with my truck on this most recent trip that I wanted to talk about, and that problem, it was one of these. What is this, you may ask? This is a transmission oil cooler hose, and one of them began to start a leak out of the end of this end. This end goes on to, there's a seal clamp hose that goes around this end, connects to the transmission cooler, and this end comes off of the automatic transmission. There's a metal line that comes off and connects to here. And those of you that aren't familiar with these, this is called a quick connect. There's a couple of prongs that you compress to remove this from the metal transmission line, and then when you install it, you just slide it on, and there's a flange on the metal line that in a minute I'm going to go underneath the truck and show you what that looks like. And that's what holds it on and prevents the quick connect from disconnecting off of the transmission line with a lot of pressure. In some cases there can be anywhere from 100 to 300 PSI of pressure coming off of one of these hoses. So as I said earlier, I've never had a problem with one of these before. When I had my transmission rebuilt, I had there's two of these under the truck. I had both of them replaced, and I put about 100,000 miles on these hoses, and then one of them started to leak. And so, wait for this truck to go by. And so what I ended up doing is I went down to Napa and purchased a new one, put the new hose on, and drove for about 100 miles, and then it started to leak again. And then so I ended up removing it off the metal line and taking a look at it, and the end of the metal line had a very slight groove in it. And what that groove was doing is it was allowing the oil to get around the O-ring. There's an O-ring inside of here, an O-ring inside. And the fluid must have been getting around that O-ring because of that groove on that metal line. So I did a little more research, and come to find out, it seems like sometimes you have to replace the metal line and one of these hoses when you do a repair like that. Please comment down below, those of you who are mechanics or have run into a problem like this before. I certainly would appreciate any feedback in the comments about this. Maybe if you ran into this problem before. So I came up with a solution for it, which I'm going to go underneath the truck and show you here. That's going to get me by, because to replace the metal line, it is a big job, and the parts are not available. I mean, you can purchase them from a parts distributor such as Napa, but I'm gonna have to wait probably a couple of days to get those parts, and it is a little bit of a time-consuming job. You've got to remove some clamps, and you are essentially tearing into some other functioning parts on the truck, and you could be opening yourself up to some more problems and some more leaks by tearing in and potentially removing some things. So with that said, let's go under the truck and I will show you how I was able to put a fix on this problem for now. Okay, so I'm underneath the truck right now, and you can see the connections. There's the other quick connect. One is pressure line and one is a return line. I forget which one is exactly which. So this was my fix. I went down to Napa and purchased some oil transmission cooler hose, or it's oil cooler hose, and it's rated up to 400 PSI. This happens to be the Gates brand. Really good quality stuff. and I just ended up sliding it over the metal line. And if you look closely in the center, there's a flare that I was talking about, and that flare is what locks on that quick connect coupler. And so what I had to do to stretch the hose and get it over that flare is I had to take a heat gun and very patiently, with a lot of effort and multiple times, I was able to slide the hose far enough all the way over to where you can get 2 clamps on. And for those of you that are wondering, yes, I did try one clamp and it started to leak again. And so I ended up having to, push the hose further all the way over that flare to where I could put 2 clamps over the hose. And I've driven over 100 miles with it, haven't had any problems, have not experienced any leaks at all with it, and it's working very well. And I don't think that I'm going to have a problem because with the amount of pressure on the hose, it is biting on that flare, and so there's a little, it is trying to pull, but it's tugging on that flare. So I think I'm going to be okay for now, and this may be enough of a permanent fix to where I won't have to replace the metal line going back to the automatic transmission. And so it does connect. There's where the other end of the hose connects with just a seal clamp, and then those lines go to the transmission cooler. So, like I said, this can be a problem that can leave you stranded on the side of the road. There's nothing worse than having a transmission leaking transmission oil, and of course it's blowing all over your undercarriage and all over your RV and your trailers and everything. So I think the question becomes, so how do you prevent something like this? I think one of the best ways is to, always do your inspections on your vehicle, always checking for leaks, because that's probably the best way you're going to prevent, something like this. But if you do come across this problem on the road, you can do a pretty simple fix like I did with just buying some of this hose. You can buy it by the foot at Napa Auto Parts. You just need to make sure you get something that's going to withstand high pressure, 300-400 pounds, and something that's designed for heat and high temperature. And then you're also going to want to have a heat gun with you to push the rubber hose over that metal line. I don't really see many other ways you're going to be able to do it. So unless you were to, expand the hose with something, but I think you would have a difficult time. You really need to heat the hose up so it becomes really pliable to where you can push it over. But it's going to require a lot of effort and a lot of patience. So I hope that you found some value in this video, and I hope that it's been educational, and I wish you all the best in your travels on the road. See you next time. Thanks for watching.